I got to check out Cobra Spell, and I really enjoyed this Kiss, Motley Crue, Judas Priest kind of a thing going on in the band. You really brought back like the 80s metal, right?
Right.
And
This is our main goal.
Right? What is
Yeah.
about it for you personally that you like so much about that hair metal, traditional metal that attracted you so much to the genre?
Well, since a very long time, I'm already very obsessed about the decade 80s. There's so many cool things that come from that time, movies, not only music. I'm obsessed with music, but cars, fashion, architecture. Every single subject pretty much of that time is really freaking cool. The aesthetic, the colors that they used. I don't know. I'm just really obsessed with that. For the ones that follow me on Instagram know that because I'm like constantly sharing like 80s cars and stuff. But I was really getting a lot into 80s music when that was kind of like the first time for me that I got into rock music was listening to Kiss. So it was my way to get into music itself. It was my inspiration to start playing an instrument. So it's kind of my root of why I became a musician. So I really needed a way to create a band to bring back a time that does not exist anymore. And I felt like there were not enough young bands that created this style, but in an authentic way. And I felt like, Cobra Spell has to be the band that brings back this time, but with a modern production, a modern packaging, let's say.
You just caught you even went ahead of what I was going to say. Is the idea is the only thing that gives it away is the modern production. You can very much take whatever you've created there, like Addicted to the Night, and plaster it in the 80s with the VHS kind of look to it. And it's going to fit in just quite well into it because it just feels like it. But you've played in so many different genres already, in power metal, right? Thrash metal, death metal, like even melodic death metal.
I have a huge broad taste when it comes to music. I never limit myself to check out something when I see it on YouTube, on my recommendations, or I get it recommended on whenever I had Spotify. Now I'm using Deezer, but whenever I get something recommended by a friend or something, I always check it out because you never know if there is like the next thing that you're gonna have on repeat. I'm obsessed whenever I find a song that I really like so much that I'm gonna put it like for a whole month long. So this is why I'm always seeking for more. And I try to not be close-minded about that. And this caused me to really get too much into too many bands and styles. And this kind of thing. That's why I've been moving around in so many different bands, because I can feel myself, I can be myself in the styles because I like the style. And I don't know, it just works for me. As long as I can be the artist that I am and doing it in my way, then it's fine.
Well,
but with Cobra Spell, I feel like it's 100% my match because I get to really do really what I want to do 100%.
So. No, I agree with you 100%. I'm sorry, my cat is like getting on the table. She's trying to get attention from me.
She want to join, or he?
yeah. I have a little girl. You know what it is with me too is I 100% relate to you in that sense, that not being closed-minded by music and really opening up your mind to various genres. But what kind of, do you have a preference for a genre? It'll be kind of more power metal, like this, traditional metal style, or do you have a different kind of preference for yourself when you listen to music?
That's a very good question, and I get it very often. It honestly changes a lot. But right now, I kind of feel like I've had so many different styles that I've been into already. Like, it's not like I'm not gonna like it a certain style anymore. It's just that I've listened it so much. And discovered so many different bands. And at a certain point, I go back to where I came from. I go back to the bands that got me into it and think, damn, this is really like, it never gets old,
I agree with you.
I think at the moment for me, the styles that I'm really, really like on daily play probably is like, heavy rock, hard rock, heavy metal. I listen to a lot of new wave, 80s pop music, really synthesizer oriented music, pretty much a lot of like 80s stuff.
80s stuff.
But mostly heavy rock kind of music, also some power metal. And sometimes I also listen to some blackened death metal. I really like Polish blackened death metal. So this is when I have a a bad day sometimes and going back. I really had like my moments. I used to be incredibly like obsessed with old school death metal. I could name you all those kind of weird old school death metal bands. Like I sometimes go back as a nostalgic feeling of like, oh, I used to listen to this like every single day a million times, you know. But yeah, at the moment I really have like a lot of 80s heavy metal on the play here, and I'm really trying to keep up a channel, New Wave of Traditional Heavy Metal. I don't know if you know, it's like a channel on YouTube that shares a lot of young heavy metal bands that release stuff worldwide.
No,
And
I
I
never heard
try
of it.
to, it's a very cool channel, and they release these albums that from bands that just emerge or are like super obscure or underground, and they really want to get out there, and they put the albums there. So I'm trying to put that like while I'm working or while I'm doing anything or reading my emails. I put that channel on and discover very cool artists worldwide that are creating the style that I like. So that's what I do most of the times. Well, recently, yeah.
What I was finding, first of all, when I was, trying to research more about you, kind of discover more about you, we're both actually Scorpios. But the idea of like, I realized we're both.
Oh, I thought I was a Sagittarius.
Oh, yeah, like, yeah, crossover. Yeah, from like, I think it was like 26th of November, right?
I'm 24.
24. I'm the 19th. So we're like, we're right there by each other.
Yeah, I might be like, there is like two different horoscopes or something. I'm like so bad at that stuff.
But the idea was, what I thought about is I'm barely an 80s baby. I was born 87. And you're born in the 90s. What kind of, first of all, who was the introduction to that hard rock and heavy music to you, and kind of what made you pick up the guitar in the first place?
Well, as I said, the root for me of getting into music was getting into Kiss, American rock band with makeup, heavy makeup. The guy with Kiss, the tongue. I am still freaking obsessed on Kiss, and not only because of the music was super energetic, but the videos that they had from back in the 70s and the 80s, like them playing live and seeing Gene Simmons completely getting the crowd with him, getting the crowd to shout, and his whole performance, like the blood spitting, the bass solo, like everything was just really, really amazing. Now the smoke from Ace Frehley's guitar, everything was so incredible to me. I thought, wow, how could I miss out on this? Wasn't I born earlier to really be able? I would even cry about like, God damn it, why wasn't I born earlier to experience this? Yeah. So just a moment, my father was calling. Bob, exit in an interview. Yeah, but so I was super obsessed with Kiss, and yeah, that's what led me to start playing bass guitar. And because Gene Simmons was my favorite member, still my favorite member of Kiss, so obviously it was the bass. I saw him playing these slides, and that was like, oh, you can't do this super cool slides on a guitar. It's like, it sounds like speed. I was like, okay, I want to become also like them. I want to be able to have a crowd cheering from me, and I want to be able to play this kind of music. I want to feel that same energy that they feel on stage, that same kind of adrenaline. And yeah, the only thing I could do is just get a bass and practice somehow. So that's what I did. Well, I didn't buy it myself. I got it from my grandmother. And that's how it started. And pretty much a bit later, like 1 or 2 years or something, I was really getting into more extreme music, from hard rock. I really got into like Alice Cooper, Wasp, and then I realized there was a whole world in thrash metal. We started getting into the technical thrash metal, like bands like Toxic, or maybe power metal, like Symphony X, and every time it became a little bit deeper and deeper and deeper. And I thought, wow, I want to also play these amazing, cool, fast solos that Marty Freeman in Megadeth plays, because his solos are so melodic. Yeah, and yeah, the first time that I thought, fuck, I need to play the guitar was when I heard Hangar 18. It's like, I cannot do this with the bass. Shit, I have to get myself another instrument now. So I got a guitar from my grandmother. She's the best. She always gave me the instruments. And she unfortunately is not with us anymore, but thanks to her, I can play what I can play. And so that's how it went pretty much.
What I find impressive is because, for example, my introduction to hard rock, heavy metal music was first our father introducing us to Deep Purple, Led Zeppelin, because obviously it's out of both of our eras, right? And as I've gotten a little older, I have an older brother who then put me on heavy metal, and my cousins. But it seemed like you discovered this on your own through just your own curiosity, right? And it
Yeah.
just started kind of.
I wonder how, honestly, because nobody in my family is really into heavy metal. Actually, I got my mother into heavy metal. She used to, when she was my age, she used to be a lot into the new wave punk, like Bauhaus kind of style.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the most extreme music she would listen to. So my interaction, my way to discover Kiss, I think, was that I saw some kind of music documentary of Kiss in the Netherlands. There's like a music program every end of the year, and they did a documentary about Kiss, and they were like this makeup. I was like, whoa, what are these guys doing? Like, what is this? I think it's cool. And I saw it also once on I think The Simpsons. Like there was like this this American program, The Simpsons, and Kiss was like doing a performance. Like I saw, wow. And they were also in many different ways I could see them somehow appearing. And I was like, okay, let's see what they're about. I thought, like, I know this song, I Was Made for Loving You, which everyone knew. I was like, okay, that's the only cool song. Let's look it up. I thought it was like the only cool song. So I checked it out and was like, wow, these guys are insane. Like I started watching every single every single album. I started to listen to like everything, and every single live video that I could find, every single documentary made by fans. I was like very obsessed. Yeah.
I'm glad to know there's another Kiss, because a lot of friends that I talk to are not Kiss fans, and I'm a huge Kiss fan. I absolutely love. So it's nice to see that somebody else loves Kiss as much as I do, and not only loves Kiss, but you're kind of carrying the tradition forward, and it's really nice to hear that.
I think they deserve the credit. They inspired a lot of musicians, not only in rock music, but also in the more extreme side of music. Like in death metal, there's a lot of death metal musicians that were inspired by Kiss. So
100%.
Anthrax was inspired by Kiss, you name it. Like a lot of the big guys are inspired by this band, and they deserve their credit.
Agreed. And you know what I also find impressive? How hardworking you are. You're like in several active bands. You're doing YouTube, which I'll make sure I link down below. You're doing social media. You're teaching guitar classes. You're touring. How do you manage all these things at once? You seem to be like a busy bee.
It is very hard to manage, I have to say. But I'm a good planner. One thing that I dare to say about myself. I have a calendar on my computer. I mean, everyone has, but I really use it like to every hour. I try to plan everything very well and make sure that I don't forget anything. I have a to-do list of the things that I want to do. I do that because I love getting things done. I love really doing what I love doing and being I'm trying to do it as good as possible. And that's like something that really gives me motivation to keep on going. Music is my biggest passion, and I also it's a huge risk to make a life out of it, but I want to make it happen. So my way to do that is to invest every single moment of my time on it. Is it with giving guitar lessons? Is it by writing music? Is it by making videos? And I don't push myself to do it. It's something that I do because I really enjoy. I really enjoy doing it. The videos, I enjoy making it because I get to understand how other musicians play. And the more I learn from how other songs by artists that I look up to are played, I feel like I'm getting better myself because I get to try new techniques and new sounds and new chord progressions that are very interesting. And when I share that with the people and the people tell me that it gives them a smile, that's like super fulfilling, very fulfilling to me. And the same goes with music. Is I think my favorite part is like of being a musician is playing on stage. Obviously, it's like best thing ever, and making my own music, which is amazing because it's like creating something new, and it's just magical. Like being able to hold this test press for me is like, wow, my baby. Yeah, it's really very meaningful, very meaningful.
I agree. I'm a personal trainer myself. So the idea of doing something that you enjoy, I 100% agree with you. It gives you a different level of fulfillment, drive, and to push forward. And the idea of where you might not get enough sleep because you're working so hard, it becomes not so significant because you love it so much.
Yeah, of course, I'm still a human being. And sometimes I feel like, damn, I'm really doing too much. I am gonna get like a burnout if I just keep on going. And then I have to listen to myself. I have a very hard time with that because I'm really like persistent. I really like to work hard with what I'm doing. But I'm in this process of learning of, okay, here is the line. Don't cross that line. Now it's time to just try something else. Like that's why I started doing kung fu, like just to try something else. Like besides, I love music, but I need like somehow a moment that is just a little break. But
I wanted to ask you about that because I got really interested. Again, me being a personal trainer, when I see these kinds of things, I gravitate towards them. Being also a martial arts fan, Wing Chun is what you're doing, right?
Sorry?
Wing Chun is something you picked up?
Oh, I don't do Wing Chun. I do Liu Hemen.
Liu Hemen. Oh, so then it was probably just wrong information on the internet. But what was the particular reason?
Well, I mean,
for example,
I'm doing Tai Chi and Liu Hemen. Liu Hemen is like I wouldn't say basic version, but it's the basis of Kung Fu. You learn all the basic stances and everything.
The styles, right? The 6 styles.
They go really big into that the basics of Kung Fu. Whatever other Kung Fu styles go really deep into maybe a certain animal style. And this one goes really into the basics. And besides it, I really go also a lot of Tai Chi. Which is like the internal kind of Kung Fu.
So it made almost seems like you said, it's a way for you to do something different, maybe distress, right? To work on yourself as well.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. And this question I like asking specifically for female male musicians, because I think it's an important question to ask. 20, 30 years ago, there was not a lot of female musicians in heavy metal. If anything, they were kind of shunned, put to the side, especially when it came to thrash, death, and black metal. But have you ever felt as a musician since you started that you somehow were downplayed or not taken as seriously just because you're a female musician?
Oh, definitely. I have been downplayed many times. People can be very mean, certainly, because honestly, sometimes it's even hard to understand to me. I think it's just because of lack of education and having an old school mentality,
Mentality, yeah.
Yeah, and some countries are less progressive about this. They don't know about this very well, and I feel sorry for them because it's probably the way they were educated in the past. And sometimes you can't change people, sometimes you can and you have to try, but sometimes it's sad. Yeah, I've been faced with this, like certainly after playing shows, maybe some or before. I mean, there was like some time I ever played a show like with a local band that I used to play in the past, and it's always, why are you holding the bass guitar? Is it from your boyfriend or something? I was like, what?
Oh,
this is my
God.
bass. I'm about to play the fucking show. Shut up.
God.
And then he went, oh wow, you're a pretty good player for a girl, or did they say after the show? And I'm like, damn, like, this guy just shut up. And this keeps on going, and also on the comments on my videos. But honestly, I really couldn't care less about it anymore. I kind of built like a wall of it. And it's sad because I would love that there would be more women playing music, but unfortunately it gets intimidating. And I can imagine that when as a woman you get out there and you will face negativity, either you want it or not, and I can accept constructive criticism, but if it's based on gender, I can definitely not accept that.
The best thing I've ever heard, and I've mentioned this a couple of times, I don't know if you've ever seen this, when Lemmy from Motorhead was explaining a story about this particular thing. He's like when girls' school is really exploding and doing really well, some band goes like, oh, they're pretty good for girls. He's like, I looked over, like, for girls, they play better than you. And he was one of the biggest proponents of the idea there is no difference. If you're good, you're good. That is it. And I think sometimes what happens too with a lot of more closed-minded men is that she's just a pretty girl. She doesn't know how to play, and that's so stupid.
I also get a question a lot on like, why do you work so often with girls in bands, or why do you seek specifically for women for a certain task? And doesn't make you that like a feminist or something, or doesn't that make you like being anti man or something? And I think like, what kind of question is that, like, stupid. I'm doing this because there is too little women in the scene. It's a fact. You go to a show and there's only men and maybe like 4 women standing in the front or something, and this is a hard thing to take. And I can imagine why it is like that, because as a woman it's intimidating to go on your own to a show where it's only men. Sometimes some girls, obviously I didn't have that much of a difficulty with it, but I can totally imagine after I started making videos that all of a sudden people were actually being mean. But yeah, if I want to be able to give a platform for more women to say, to show that they're out there, to hopefully inspire more other women to do the same and don't feel intimidated by grabbing an instrument and do it too, you know. So that's why I try to work as much as I can with upcoming girls or women in music, so they get like a jump start to do what they want to do and the confidence to say, okay, I can do this too. And hopefully they'll be doing their own videos or starting their own band, or, you know, ambitioning something.
That's absolutely, I love that. That's very beautiful to do that, because I think it's important. And for me, this never was, personally, I never saw the difference. It's just good music is good music, no matter who plays it. And another thing I think also I've heard from some people happens is, have you ever encountered any kind of barriers, whether it be label side or even various places, venues that you've played, maybe the way you have to act, to dress? I even heard this from a male perspective as well, where in metal, it's like, oh, you got to headbang this many times. I literally have heard bands say this, like they were enforcing rules on how many things you have to do, which is why they would go more independent, because they wouldn't have that pressure from the label.
Yeah, this happens, and it's very sad. And I'm a kind of person that really, really dislikes rules. I'm really against, I mean, I can agree to a concept. I can respect the concept of a band. I can respect a concept that, or advice on how to create a certain image or certain presentation on stage. You know, there's certain guidelines that I'm willing to accept, but once they change your own personality and they force you to be in a certain way to fit in what is the right image to gain a certain amount of exposure or money or whatever, I think the true art comes when it's authentic, you know, when it's meant, when it comes from the heart, and when everyone can agree that it's going to work together without sabotaging anyone's personality. And that's why I try to avoid anything that changed me too much. You know, I'm willing to compromise to the point where as long as I can express myself as I am able, not only visually, not only personality wise, but also musically wise. You know, I have a certain sound, certain composition style, and I'd like that to be respected.
I agree, yeah. And with Anthem of the Night, it's releasing on the 31st of March, right, officially?
Yes, that's in 4 days.
So you must be excited, because it looks like it's just your baby that you're just waiting to release to the world so everybody can check it out.
I am extremely excited. Extremely excited. Yes, it's a 4-track EP, and 4 songs of hard rock, heavy metal style, full of party themes.
I loved Accelerator. I loved Accelerator. It was such a, like, I liked all the songs, but like, if something always in the album sticks to you automatically, like glue, Accelerator stuck to me right away. I really, really enjoyed it.
This one is made to drive fast at night with the car. Like, yeah.
I'm really happy for you. It's like, just to see, you know, like I'll talk to bands that are more known, less known, just the idea of releasing a product and having people check it out. It looks like what you've already released, people are really resonating with it and they're enjoying it, based on like the comments that I saw. People were really requesting, by the way, for me to check out that I was able to distinguish you from different bands by your tattoo as well.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute. I know
it's
this
a ritual.
Girl.
It's a live ritual.
Another thing with your YouTube channel, like I said, I'll make sure I link it down below, is as a musician in 2022, how important do you think is to be a content creator as well as a musician to be more successful and more noticed? Do you think it's an important part of the whole equation, or is it just something that you want to do yourself?
No, it's things that I consider, I do it because I find it fun to do. I love doing it. But in these times where internet is kind of like the best way to promote yourself out there, musicians have to kind of become like an how to say it, entrepreneur of themselves. And this wasn't like that in the past. In the past, you really had to go tour, and the manager had to manage it for you. Like the bookings had to manage it for you. You just had to be on stage play, and that's it. And you didn't have to do any kind of like social media things or videos, or maybe music videos for MTV or something. But I mean to say, like, you didn't have to create any content to make sure that people don't forget about you. You know? And this is the age of internet, and it works like that. And I feel like the way to get my band out there and get myself out there and get the chances that I want to get to make my dream become reality is to spread awareness of the existence of what I'm doing. And this is what I do with the internet. Aside of, I mean, it's just also a thing that I enjoy doing, like sharing what the hell I'm doing at home. Like I'm playing the guitar or I'm playing a certain song and people are like, yeah, I like that song. Like, yeah, me too.
we can unite behind that. Yeah. The songs that we all enjoy.
But I just like, I truly, my favorite part of music is going to a show and going to a festival and seeing these people like face to face, or seeing the people like smiling from the stage and cheering. That's really my favorite. That's truly really my most favorite thing, and I miss it so much. I really miss it a lot, but it's gonna happen this year. So
well, yeah, it seems like it's the common theme of a lot of bands, unfortunately, with the pandemic and everything, is everybody's plans had to be shifted, changed, adapted. Everybody had to do something different, right? To first of all, keep themselves busy, keep themselves in a fan's minds. And I would, for example, even from my side, I feel like if I talk to you and two more people check you out that haven't seen you before, I felt like I've done my part, because it's important to spread the message of heavy metal. It's not pop music where you're going to be on every single radio station. It's so important for fans to spread your music and give it to other people as well.
Yeah. And I'm thankful that people are like, such as you, that invite me to an interview, because this helps us getting out there. So, and yeah, I mean, also what coming back to the main question, we have to be entrepreneurs, and with the internet, it's become so easy. You can distribute your own music like yourself. You don't even need a label to do that, or a distributor. You can just use like a tool on internet, and your music will be everywhere you want it. It's just so easy to get things done. So why not do it yourself? You know, and this is something that I've been learning a little bit, like a lot of things, that certain services that take away your rights, you can do it yourself pretty easily. Of course, maybe not with the right contacts, but yeah, this is something that I'm still like discovering.
And as a Cobra spell, how did the whole band come about? How did you guys come together as a unit to start this band and start writing music?
Yeah, so 2 years ago, I just was really listening to a lot of Dokken. There's this band named Dokken.
Dokken, of course.
And I was like really listening like for a month long, now even longer, like Under Lock and Key, this album. And I already knew this album for a very long time, but I thought, okay, I'm gonna come back to this and I'm gonna listen to this. And I was like, wow, and now I'm really even more amazed than I was before. I was like, I want to create a band that sounds like 80s, but does it in an authentic way. Like the 80s band that brings back all this amazing, like David Lee Roth kind of stage antics, the arena rock sounding songs, like everything like fucking over the top, just everything over the top. Because where the hell are these bands? You know, there is a lot of like bands that are heavy metal, yes, but they don't dare to do the glam thing. Like they don't dare to do that like little extra. Sometimes I see, it's my opinion, and I really want to give it like that little extra, because I just want that 80s glam back. So that's how Cobra Spell emerged, together with Sebastian Silva. And he's my boyfriend. He plays also the guitar. We started as the two guitar players of the band, and we founded the band and started looking for other members to join in. And so this is kind of how it became a band, kind of a project. It started like a little project, and I started getting it every time a little bit more serious. After we released the first EP, Love Venom, I was really amazed. It got sold out very fast. So Sebastian was very busy with his own band, so we decided that he was gonna go out of like the official lineup, and he was just gonna write lyrics for us. So he's still like kind of in the band, and I would rearrange the band in a way that we can be more like busy and do things in a more stable kind of way. So that's kind of how it went.
I really like Alex on the vocals. I think he really brings that 80s, that thing that you're talking about. That
Alex
like that.
Is amazing. Yeah, the first time I saw him, I was in tour with my previous band, Burning Witches, and he was playing with his band Hidden, and his voice, his live is like better than the recordings. He has such talent, so amazing. And I was asking him backstage, are you open like to like record at least like the songs or be part of this project that I'm starting? And he was like, yeah, for sure. And I was like, yes, yes. And he's awesome. He's awesome. He's so kind. Yeah, he's a
And
very good dude.
you know, with hair, you mentioned hair metal and that people glam, that the glam in the rock, a lot of people avoid it. It's a conversation my brother and I had a couple of days ago. I used to be one of those people like, fuck Motley Crue. Like, they ruined heavy metal. I even thought like that myself. But
No.
then you stop now, and we had this conversation, and I stopped. I looked at my brother. I'm like, Ben, Poison has some really good fucking songs. Motley Crue has really good songs. Like, their music was good. It's just people made fun of them at that time because of the way they sort of commercialized heavy metal. But
yeah,
if you're really honest about it, their music is just as good as Metallica's and other bands. They just did it differently.
Good. Yeah, and there's so many talented guitar players.
Yeah,
so many guitar players in the 80s heavy metal, hard rock, overall in metal. Like, so many talented guitar players. I think it's just so cool that they did what they did, and the style, the whole aesthetic. It was so much about fun, and I believe that there has to be more fun in music. I also appreciate a lot of like angry metal and history-based metal, and theme wise. But in my opinion, I feel like there needs to be more like, come on, let's have some fun. Let's
have some fun.
Bring
yeah.
some. Doesn't always have to be so serious, and I need that in my life. So I thought, let's do that.
And one last question I have for you is something that is very important to me, and I'll give you a little insight on it later. But I first want to have your answers. This idea, in one of your posts, I saw that you mentioned your dad being one of the biggest supporters of your career, and you're doing the music. How much would you attribute that his support for you in doing this to you, the success that you've been getting with all the various bands and music in general?
How much he
how much you would attribute his support to your success?
Incredibly much. His support is amazing. I am extremely lucky for the parents that I have, and I have no words to explain that because it's not worth. I couldn't even explain it because they really are very nice parents, very good parents. I am really thankful. My father wakes up whatever time he would wake up to get me at the airport to bring me for a show. He would do it. He's always there advising me and supporting me on my decisions and giving me, also being the advocate of the devil, as I call it. He's not there to tell me, oh yeah, you're right, oh yeah, you're right. No, he's there to tell me the truth, and that's what I want. Nothing but the truth, and someone that wants the best for what I'm doing. And that's why I really, really love my parents. And I mean, I love them for many reasons, but this is one of the things that I feel like they're so good. Yeah.
That the reason I mentioned that is because it's so important when people we love support us and they don't just question us and try to, oh, this is not going to happen. Most people fail as musicians. That's the line of thinking. I've gotten that in my career. My parents didn't understand personal training. So but most people fail in that. And having that support of your parents, I think it's only going to drive your enthusiasm and heart into the music so much more. That's why,
because I made very scary decisions, I believe, in my own musical career of leaving very big chances behind. I mean, what seemed to me like something that was very big, and saying like, I don't want to do this anymore. These are chances that I thought, oh, I'm gonna maybe be a a disappointment to people because of my decision. Maybe they're gonna say she's not gonna make it after this, but no, I mean, this is what goes on in my head. Obviously, like everyone has these insecurities when you make a very hard decision. And my parents are there and believe that if I feel like this is the choice, they will support it, even if it seems so risky. They will understand and support me and advise me. And this is something that is worth more than all the gold, the cars, whatever there is in this world. Like, that's the best thing there is.
I'll say one last thing is that it's very nice to know that you're super sweet in person, very easy to talk to, but a total badass on stage and in music. So it's nice to see both sides of you here, that you have both of these sides covered. as a person, first of all, covering music and a fan of music myself, it's very nice to know on a human level that you are just one of us. You know, it's like sometimes we make these things up in our head what we can think a person can be, and you're just a very warm person. And I want to wish you guys, first of all, Cobra Spell, any endeavors that you have in your future. I want to kind of wish you big luck, and for it to really get to another level for you. I'm Russian, I can't help but give like a toast.
Thank you so much. It means the world to me, and we are the same. I don't consider myself any other important or less important or anything. I just think we are both metal fans and want to enjoy music. So.
I want to leave the last word to you. Anything you want to say to people watching it, who know you, who don't know you? Just I want to leave the last word to you.
I want to say a huge thanks for all that are still watching right now. You kept up. Woo! In a couple of days, Anthems of the Night, the second EP by Cobra Spell, is coming out, and this one is going to be available on all music platforms, going to be on YouTube, and it's pre-orderable in vinyl, CD, and who knows, maybe in the future cassette. We are working a lot on getting some shows here in Europe at the moment. So want to stay in touch with what's going on with the news of the band. Follow us, and if you want to see me doing my own thing as a solo musician, you can follow me as Sonia Anubis. So that's it.
Sonia, thank you very, very much for doing this.
Thank you.